by saying hi. I'll give you a chance to get in here because I'm going to say something a couple of times here. I'm going to have to say it a couple of times, no doubt, because this needs to be said. And so I want to make sure I'm clear, people hear me clearly. So my early comments about equating coronavirus with influenza were wrong. They were incorrect. I was part of a chorus that was saying that, and we were wrong. And I want to apologize for that. I wish I'd gotten it right, but I got it wrong. What I did not get wrong was every time I took a position, I always said, make sure you listen to Dr. Fauci, because he is the person we must look to. He was my guiding star in the AIDS epidemic, and he should be your North Star now. I said that every time I took a position. I was wrong about comparing influenza and coronavirus. That was loser think, as Scott Adam would say. They shouldn't be comparing the epidemics. I was comparing the numbers, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But I want to be clear that I apologize for getting it wrong. I wish I'd gotten it right. I did not, thank goodness, get Dr. Fauci wrong. And when Dr. Fauci made it clear that this was not a usual influenza, that it was significantly worse, I adjusted course. And if you notice, I've been doing at least 2 hours of media a day, changing my perspective in such a way as to sign on for the aggressive measures we are taking. Now, the thing I also said from the beginning was follow the CDC recommendations, follow Dr. Fauci's recommendations. They will keep us safe. And I thought that, when the government started taking more aggressive measures, we should all sign up. We had a collective responsibility to do so. I wear a mask outside now. I do what I'm supposed to do, and it's paying dividends. It is improving. It is flattening the curve. And I'm delighted to be a part of that. I'm glad to be a part of that. So I think the reason I got it wrong is I didn't understand the ferocity of this illness, the way it can crash people. I was just looking at the numbers and comparing numbers, and that was the loser thing part of this. Now, I will tell you, as part of my responsibility is I have signed up for California and the New York Health Corps, and I will go to the front lines to serve whatever needs are necessary in either of those states when.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, guys, and we'll see if we can get everybody in here again. I'm sorry, because I want to be very, very clear about this. Chris, okay, you hearing me? So I want to pick up where I left off. Thank you, Joanne. Okay, here we are. So what I was saying before the video cut off is I have signed up for the Health Corps for both California and New York, and I will go to the front lines should either of those states call upon me or when they call upon me. So I'm just going to get that clarified. So let me say again, when I compared the coronavirus to influenza at the beginning of this epidemic, I was relying on and so we don't have the greatest Wi-Fi, I guess, where I am right now. But I will say it again. I've signed up for the New York and California Health Corps to go to the front lines when those states should call. I am expressing my deepest apologies for getting it wrong at the beginning, comparing coronavirus to influenza. That was wrong. What I did get right was telling everybody after I stated my position to be sure you listen to Dr. Fauci, because he should always be your North Star. He will get it right no matter what. And he has been, and I was convinced would always be, the person we should listen to and follow his direction and nothing more and nothing less. Now, several states have done more, and I also say we should listen to our leaders and sign up collectively to do these things. It will make a difference, and I'm glad we've done so. So I was engaged in a bit of loser think by comparing numbers. I had a lot of numbers in my head. I was dealing with 100,000 people dying of opiates and drugs every year. I was dealing with 1 billion people infected with H1N1 and 500,000 40 to 60-year-olds dying of that. 24 million flu cases and 30 to 60,000 dying of that. Those numbers were in my head as I was trying to compare this outbreak to that. And I shouldn't have been doing that. I should have been just addressing this outbreak as what it was. I didn't understand the ferocity of this virus and its contagiousness. And now my heart and soul is with New York City, which is where I spend a lot of my time, and will find a way back there if they need me. If they call upon me through the health corps, I will go. Same thing with California. I'm signed up in California as well, and I'll be part of the front line if I should be needed. Again, we are getting lots of threats. My family is getting threats. I'd like us to please ask that you stop and that we get together. This is a time for collective effort, not for scapegoating. And if there's more to be done, I will do it. And again, I apologize for being a part of the chorus that got it wrong. I wish I'd gotten it right. I am hopeful that the numbers will start, once we get some good therapeutics in here, we'll start to stack up. It will start to be similar to the influenza in terms of numbers once we get some really quality or really effective therapeutics in place. And I'm looking to next week to think to figure out what, how that's going to look. We should have data on that hopefully next week. So I also want you to know that those of you that are only seeing snippets of something I said a month ago when I was getting it wrong, that I adjusted course when Dr. Fauci made it clear that there's a difference between this virus and influenza, the ferocity of this virus and its infectivity. And based on his recommendations, I immediately adjusted course. I have a Twitter, a dose going out where I show where you can listen to my thinking. It was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've been the same ever since. So thank you. Okay. Lots of death threats, Mathen. Thank you. Kimco, yeah, there was a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of getting it wrong at the beginning. Yeah, I understand that the video is not doing great, but I want to make sure this is out there. We're going to try to find a way to make the video better, and I just want to make sure I got this out there. I tell you, apparently this video is breaking up all over the place. Are you guys getting bad video out there? Is that that looks spooky? Okay. So what we'll do, we're going to try a different. We're going to get close to the router and try to find a different kind of camera. And I will try to take your. I'm sorry, and I am going to California or New York should need of me as this thing plays out. I will be. Myself and my family have been taking really serious threats. And we're having technical problems. Are you sounding okay and hearing it okay now? Yeah, see, I don't think hold on. Okay, 1 second. Apparently the video's better. Okay, you should have my audio now too. Is everything better? Okay. So we apologize for this technical stuff, but I wanted to get this out there so people understand that I want to offer my apology for getting it wrong, for being part of the chorus that got it wrong. And I'd be happy to explain my position. It was based on some loser think. My intention was to try to lessen the panic that I could see coming. And I was trying to get people to measure their emotional response to the numbers that we were going to see, which I felt were going to be big from coronavirus versus things like 1 billion of H1N1 and 204 million of influenza. But I went too far and compared the epidemics, which was the mistake, and I want to apologize for that. Like I said, I've signed up to both the New York and the California Health Corps, and I will go to the front lines as soon as they call. So I want to also be here to answer your questions. So if there are more questions, we appreciate you guys joining and showing up, and I want to make part of the difference. Let me just review some viral stuff, some general virus sort of
behavior. Wash your hands regularly, be a hand Nazi, keep your hands away from your face. That is the main thing. This virus is very sensitive to soap. Do not touch your face. I'm an advocate of the masks. I think keeping the mask across our face, even a cloth, which does pick up some of the viral particles, having the cloth will help keep our hands away from our face. And I think we should do so. Now, you remember the government has changed its position on the mask too. At first, there wasn't adequate data to confirm it, and there was concern that we wouldn't have enough resources for the frontline people that needed it. Now, it seems like the gear is replete, and we should all begin wearing the mask. And of course, physical contact, 6 feet, isolate if you can. Have courage, have compassion, share kindness. This is not the time for vitriol. We need to get together now if we possibly can. Let's see. Government, oh, that's interesting. Oregon to send vents to New York. That's interesting. Why are they not pushing hydroxychloroquine? It is being used. The evidence is suggesting, and again, the evidence isn't in yet, so it's suggesting that it might have some use early in the illness when the virus is replicating so massively, and that's when the inflammatory response can hit. It's much like septicemia from bacteria, right? Once the bacteria break into your bloodstream, you got to have IV antibiotics, but then the septicemia continues. It's breaking up again? Well, we're having bad connection, yeah. Yeah.
It's so weird. Let me see if I get off of my Wi-Fi.
Okay. We're trying to clear everybody off the Wi-Fi here to improve your
Okay.
video.
Maybe that'll help.
Okay, maybe that helps. Still bad reception, Shannon, or is that getting better? Yes, so it is airborne, right? We know it's airborne. It's primarily droplet transmitted. Hands are still the primary means of transmission, but I have grave concerns about what is Joe Rogan getting hit for? You can share that with me. But the primary transmission is hands, right? But it is droplet forming, and I really worry about elevators and halls, and trains, and I think that's why I think the Long Island Railroad, I think elevators, I think the unventilated hallways in New York City, I think that's what really caused this thing to blow up. The good news is if you go to covid19.health, COVID-19, let me look it up real quick. Healthdata.org, covid19.healthdata.org. They'll show you the graphs of where New York is headed, and it's going to get better next week. So let's look for that. Yeah, Tina, maybe buses as well. These closed environments that we've not given a lot of thought to when this thing was spreading so fast, and now the people are getting sick from that early spread. Oh, I did not see what you said about Rogan here. You were trying to tell me what. One second. It's a learning experience for everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's a fog of war here, guys. It's a fog to make the best call, and actions, because it is a fog of war. We'll just try to make our best judgments based on where we are now. Scott Adams today said something interesting. He said everybody got it wrong except him, Cernovich, which I think is about right. But the one thing I did get right, the one thing I did get right is that you should follow Dr. Fauci. Follow Dr. Fauci. And I still say that, and I would add Dr. Birx to that equation now too. She was a little skeptical at the beginning, and took a while for her to get on board where she is now, but I would urge you to follow everything those two say, and we will be fine. I can't promise that we will not get sick, and that this virus won't kill people no matter what we do. That is the nature of a pandemic. People get sick, people get hurt by this thing. It is scary, and it's time for us to stick together. Okay, I didn't see what you said about Rogan. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Don't move around. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm trying. Fauci also said, whoops. Oh my goodness, you're going very quickly. How's Colorado? Colorado, I because this video is so bad, I'm trying not to move much, but you can go to that covid19healthdata.org and you will see Colorado's starting to break out a little bit. So be careful. I will tell you, California is looking amazing, and it's because we took aggressive action early. Um, no worries on the video. Thank you, Sean. New York City is calming down. Good. That's great to hear. Long Island, I know, is suffering. I know it's suffering. Jackie, I didn't see what you needed advice on. I'm trying to, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a different window here and try to hold still.